Hello? Where am I? Alright, let's see. Go me. Alright. Yeah, so this was round 3 of the MLK. The only game I didn't stream because my phone was dead. And I felt like I needed a break from the pressure because I think it made me play a little bit worse than I normally do just because of the nerves. Not by a lot. But her men. So I kind of metagamed this. Because before the round, I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna play, and I know that if I play e4, it's gonna be a Nightorf. I had a Nightorf against him where I sacked a piece, a knight on g7, and it was really good, and I won that game. And then if I play d4, I under the impression it would be a King's Indian, and both require a lot of thought, and I was exhausted because it's a K-Kona tournament, and you play 3 games in one day. And each game is like over 5 hours a lot of the time. Maybe not each game, but some of them are. So I was tired and I was like, he was there, he was in the room, but I was talking to someone else. I was like, I don't think I have the energy for a King's Indian or a Nightorf. I just want to play something solid because I don't have the energy. And the guy was like, well, I mean, King's Indian is positional, so... Yeah, but that requires so much more thought from me because I suck positionally. And my opponent's listening to this, so I get down and you know, I decided to play d4 based on I'm a little more familiar with King's Indian structures than the Nightorf, I guess. Or like, I'm not gonna die as easily with white in the King's Indian if I don't know any theory. And then he played d5, which I've never seen him do before. Maybe he does it, but it seemed to me like he was doing something there. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too hard, but metagaming, yes. But I was ecstatic to see d5 because that's like I spent most of my time prepping for d5 for some reason, even though like no one in Colorado plays d5. So I was very happy and very shocked by this, and I was finally actually gonna get to use my Catalan shit that I've been learning. Finally, my first actual Catalan. So, he plays this move, first he plays knight f6, bishop g2. This move order is just to have the option of, like, if knight f3, queen a4, he can go knight c6. But if you play bishop g2 takes, queen a4, knight c6, then he can't. Then that's happening. I think that's the main reason of this move order. I could be completely wrong. Just to have options. So he plays this move a6 here, which is a move. I just develop my piece, and he takes. And I already am thinking, he hasn't moved his bishop yet. Like, that's kind of weird, you know? Hold on, the chat's all messed up. Like, I was mostly looking at lines where bishop e7 is already played, and castles is already played when they start doing this b5 stuff. So it was like, more metagaming, I was like, I know he doesn't normally play this, so maybe this is slightly inaccurate. So I just castled, and played knight e5, and he plays c6, and this is a sort of a thematic pawn sack. So if I take, he has queen b6, and black is very happy here. Black doesn't really have any problems. So this is not ideal. So we don't take that. It's a weak pawn, and it's annoying pin for him, and he can't really optimally develop his knight on b8. So, you know, we just leave it there. We keep the tension and the pressure, get our hot little Catalan bishop. So I played a4 here. I couldn't decide between a4 and b3, and I ended up playing a4 and b3, but here it's a lot better to play b3 right away. I think a4 is just sort of a waste, because after I played a4, like knight d5 was played and I played b3, and a4 is in there, like it's there, but it's not necessary. b3 is just a very good move right away. And already there's kind of a huge threat of just taking and destroying his pawn structure. So yeah, I guess a4 is not best. So this was like my one inaccuracy for a long time. It's not even technically an inaccuracy, but I just didn't know. So this is a threat, and now he has like 2 moves to address this, and he chose knight d5, which I think is probably a mistake. So notice he's pushed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns. He's moved this pawn twice, and now he's moving his only developed piece a second time. And so alarm bells are going off in my head. It's like, he can't do this. He just can't do this. And this was like what was helping me find all of these moves during this game. It's just like, logically, it doesn't make sense that he should be able to get away with pushing a bunch of pawns, moving a knight twice, and not castling. Just shouldn't happen. Bishop b7 is much better. And then b3, and you can just... I think sometimes you play knight d2 and take with the knight, but I wasn't sure exactly why and where. I think it's fine to do this. It's also fine to just ignore that and play bishop b2, because he's not going to defend this pawn. So you can just solidify the center a little bit and continue developing your pieces. And I'm not sure what the evaluation would be here, but I like this position for white. But black is fine, so bishop e7 is a better. But yeah, knight d5, he's moving his only developed piece a second time. So naturally this is not ideal. Now b3, now I understand. And maybe it looks slightly weird to play b3 when his knight is supporting a c3 push, but this is a common idea, because if c3, he's not going to be able to hang on to this pawn at all. Like, I could just play e4 for 1. I don't know where he puts his knight. Probably have to go back. Interestingly, b4 is the best move here. So he can't really even play c3, because he just kind of has to commit to it, and he's like -2. So concretely, it just doesn't work. But there are positions where you allow them to play this, and it's like a whole thing. But here he just took it. And I considered playing bishop b2. I considered playing knight d2. And I spent kind of a long time here deciding, where the hell do I want my knight? Where do I want my queen? And basically, I play queen takes b3 for the reason that it's doing a lot in this position here. Number 1, it's adding more pressure to the b pawn. Number 2, this is just like a nugget of an idea I saw here with, you know, like, listen, if that... I was just noticing that these squares are weak and that his king is in the center. Number 3, it gets away from d1, so a rook can go there. If bishop b7, then this pawn is pinned. So I don't know, I just kind of like my queen here. Also bishop a3, preventing castling, and if he takes now, then I just put my queen on a3 and he still can't castle. Here it doesn't work because he can just go queen e7 probably, but that's an idea that's in the air. So that's why queen takes b3. Also, I'm just recapturing. So now he goes bishop b7, and again I felt that was wrong, because his king is in the center. He needs to get going and castle before it's too late. Bishop b7 felt like maybe misunderstanding the position a little bit, which is fair because I don't think that he normally plays this. Maybe he's learning it, but so here, how much time exactly did I spend? This is move 10. So I spent 14 minutes on this position and found the best continuation. So it's white to play. And white is almost winning already in this position. It's right, I'm learning the Catalan. This is my first game in the Catalan, and it was my favorite game I've ever played. It's fruit punch. Best flavor. I did lose this game, but it's still my favorite game I've ever played. So, my opponent has broken basic opening principles, basic chess principles, by moving a bunch of pawns, not castling, and moving a piece twice. And I decided that he shouldn't be allowed to castle. I decided it was too late for him. This was his last chance to play bishop e7, and now he doesn't get to. So, white to play and prevent black from castling. So e4 is obviously one of the first moves that comes to mind, because, okay, first you're making him move this piece for a third time, and second, his king is in the center, so we want to break in the center. E4 is the best move, but it's more important that you see the follow-up. So I spent 14 minutes here, and I played e4 after thinking about just a ton of shit. And then the next move, to find the correct continuation, I had to spend another, hold on, math, 25 minutes. So in total, these two moves, I spent almost half an hour, or more than half an hour, right? Because I said I spent 14. So most of my time was spent on this. So d5 is an idea, but d5 right away is not working because he takes. And sure, this is like what I'd like to have happen, and a lot of my time went to making this work. But he just plays bishop e7 and he castles, and I just thought that was too good for him. I thought this was better than he deserved. And white is only slightly better here. And I just didn't see like where my big advantage was after this. So it's not d5. And also, I kind of already mentioned one of the ideas. So I'll go to the position. This is where I spent the majority of my time. And this little guy has moved 3 times. He hasn't castled. Now, a lot of my time, I actually tried to get f4 to work. And I wanted to sack my rook. That was one of my ideas, but it just doesn't work. Just doesn't. It's like close to getting his queen trapped after bishop e3, queen takes, knight c3, because it's like, oh, I'm defending this pawn. But he could just play queen a3, and I was so annoyed with this. But like f4, f5 was one of my ideas, but I couldn't get it to work. What do you mean work? We just looked at d5. d5 is like equal to maybe tiny bit better for white. My move, white is close to winning. Take on b5, then d5. That's also good. I guess I don't know what he takes with. This is also good, but it's not as good as what I did. So this is like a pretty annoying threat. So he can't play bishop e7 right away because he loses. But he has queen b6 here. Or no, he doesn't. There's knight c4. Maybe here. Is the problem. Yeah, it's probably an issue. It still looks like white is winning to me though, because of this pin. So maybe black takes this way. Yeah. So yeah, probably 8 takes is good. Okay, but here the goal is keeping the king in the center. So how do we do that? I do agree that white is probably still winning with if I take with the c pawn. But if I take with the a pawn, then it's obviously white is better. Obviously. But just trust me, when you see what the best continuation is, you'll agree. That's all I'll say. We have better. Oh no. Sorry to hear you're sick, Trisha. What kind of sick? Don't share if it's really gross. Go too weak, too slow. Bishop h3. Let's give that a double exclam. So bishop h3, and this is like, now you understand with my weird thought with the queen on this diagonal. Now we have knight takes f7 as an idea, and I had to calculate so fucking hard on this move. Because if he just plays bishop e7, knight takes f7 needs to work. Otherwise, he's getting away. So this is still hard. This is still hard to figure out, to find the best. Because you can't just give up a piece if it's not working. So what I saw was knight takes f7, king takes f7 is forced. And now, so if I just play queen takes e6, he goes king e8, and it's like, what was the point of this? He's in the center. This looks good. But he's like oddly safe here. It takes a lot of maneuvering for me to do anything. This knight is a pain in the ass. I could play bishop a3 maybe, but bishop c8 might be coming. Like, it's just, it looks messy. So here we take with the bishop. And after king e8, bishop f7. If he goes king d7, I had a few options. I saw after queen e6, king c7, bishop f4, king b6. I think I think just knight c3 here is good. I also was not sure about like if I should take and then play knight c3 or play knight c3 first. I hadn't made up my mind yet. I think they're both good, but he's not gonna seek refuge on the a file. It's just not gonna work for him. And other than that, he's close to being in a mating net. All of his pieces suck, so he has no compensation. I had plenty of compensation for the piece. And I was thinking knight c3 here. Knight c3, yeah. And he can't ever take here because of this. So I think black is screwed here. He has to play something like b4. Because if he does, I don't know, it's hard to find a move for black. If he goes, maybe he tries to kick my queen away. But then he's just undeveloping another piece. Bishop b4. Well, this pawn is pinned, so like I take here and he has to take this way. Then I either take on b5 or I trade. I think I probably just take. Takes, king takes, then there's this and this. Probably very, very bad for him. He can't escape. He's just getting mated. So black resigns. Why not queen d7? Knight d5. I could just go queen b3. Renewing the threat. This bishop is real pain in the ass for him to deal with. His king just can't get out. And I'm driving him over to where my rooks are. It's like a banco, but where his king's over here. You know? So it's pretty bad. Black is, in fact, lost. So anyway, that's... I saw other lines that I'm not even sure if some of them were real. I was calculating for so long. But I decided that his only bishop e7 was not possible, and the only two options he had were queen e7 and bishop c8. If queen e7, though... I was thinking bishop a3, queen c7, followed by, like, just rook c1, I thought was okay. Apparently I am wrong on that. Oh yeah, he has b4 here. No, yeah, I can't play bishop a3. I think I realized that in the game. I hope I did. So maybe we understand that this is, like, something that's happening. Because the queen on e7 is still in the way of him developing his bishop, so I don't need to worry about stopping him from castling for a few more moves, because he has to actually prepare it. It's kind of gross to play g6 and e6. So I could play, like, knight d2, and preparing for him to push here, and just bringing another horse in. And his dark squares are just atrocious. Queen b4, just queen e3. This is happening. It's just one of those positions that looks like hell to play for black. He decided to play bishop c8, which made me so happy. I love it when my opponent has to undevelop a piece. He's like setting up for the next game. So now he's moved this piece twice, this piece 3 times, and other than that, he has absolutely no development. So we play a takes b5 because my idea, which was not the correct idea attached to this, it's the best move, but I was wrong on why. My idea is that he has to take here, and then I can play d5. Apparently I should just play knight c3 and let him castle and take here. And I evaluated this as clearly better for white, but I wanted more. I wanted something more painful than this. I just didn't want him to castle. That was like the whole game for me. It's like, you're just not allowed. It's the theme. So I decided not to do this. I thought it was probably, like, not probably, it's maybe even winning for white. But I could see him, you know, trading some pieces off, and he has this outside pass pawn, and maybe draw. It's just a silly way to evaluate this. I understood that this was good, I wanted better. So that is why I did not play knight c3. And I pushed right away, and my idea attached to this is takes, bishop c8, queen c8. Wait, I'm sorry. I said that entirely wrong. I was like, why isn't my move here? Takes, bishop c8, queen takes, e takes d. And then wherever he moves his bishop, like one of these squares, he can't play bishop e7 because I think d6 right away might even work. And yeah, it just does because he doesn't have an e-pawn. He's just losing a piece. So he has to either play bishop d6 or bishop c5. And after both moves, I saw bishop a3. But what I didn't see is after bishop c5, bishop a3, it looks like if he just castles, I have rook c1 and he's losing a piece. But there he has, yeah, he has b4 there, followed by, if I take with the bishop, he has bishop takes f2 check, which is something I overlooked. He said he didn't even consider b4 in that position, and it was something that I only saw after I'd already taken on c8. So, if you didn't follow that, this position, he should go bishop c5 here, which is hard to play, because it looks like, okay, either castle now, or again, you just don't. And after this move, there's no way to defend this bishop, except for b4, which it's just defended twice. But after I take here, I'm no longer defending c1, And this position... What is this position? My king is so weak. So... And I'm just down in exchange, so... Go quickly watches. Thanks for the 39 months. So I saw that after I took on d5, and I was pretty annoyed because I realized that he's actually just castling, and I'm down a pawn. I still have like some pressure, but I'm definitely not winning anymore with bishop c5. And I also saw this line incorrectly after bishop c5, bishop a3, castles, rook c1, b4. I also convinced myself for a minute that I could play queen takes b4 because I'm still defending c1, and if bishop takes f2, no, if takes, then I take his queen. But in that position, his rook is already on f8, so he just recaptures. But at first, I convinced myself that that was working, and then I ended up being fine. He played bishop d6. So he's attacking my knight, and he's threatening to castle. So white to play here again too. Yeah, white to play. There's only one good move here in this position, so otherwise white is worse. And yeah, I'll point out why bishop e7 is bad, just for fun. So this is what we call a double attack. Also a unleashing, what is it called? Discovered attack, that's what it's called. So that's why he played bishop d6, because it seems like it makes sense to blockade the pawn. And he's attacking this knight. So... threatening to castle. Seems like a good move. Yeah, so just bishop a3 anyway. We don't really give a fuck if he takes here, because he can't castle still. You know, he has this horrible pin to deal with. I'm winning that piece back no matter what. And this pawn is very, very strong. So he really doesn't want me to get this big center. Like, that's not good. Especially if he's not castling. Unleashy attack, yes. So we play bishop a3, taking the knight is suicide. Yeah, and if he just takes my bishop here, we take with the queen, he can't castle, rook e1 is coming in. It's just hideous. He's just getting mated with like something like this. There's nothing he can do. His knights are, they can't help him. Like no one can go to e7, so it's very sad. So he can't do that. Other than that, the only other option is queen d8, which is what I expected. And here, white to play and win again. This is, I think the best move I played all weekend. So if I do nothing, black is gonna castle. Oh, Shaydock. King h1, X-Clan. I just want you to notice, like, he moved his bishop here and then put it back on its starting square. He moved his queen here and put it back on the starting square. It just really makes me happy. So, okay, what are our options here? If we take on d6, takes... I mean, I can play rook e1, but then he just castles. Then this pawn is probably going to drop. Maybe I play knight c3, maybe I pick up this pawn, but I'm definitely not better there. If I don't take... He's just castling, and then he's threatening to take my knight. Knight c6 is definitely something to consider, because we're attacking the queen, and we're opening up the e-file at the same time. Are you saying knight c6 here? Yeah, knight c6 here, takes, and unfortunately, this is very sad, we don't have rook e1 here because of knight e7. So as I was saying, he can't get a knight to e7 to help him, but that's because of this pawn on d5. This is just helping him do that. So I would like to do that, but I can't. So I have to make a threat, kind of, while opening the e-file. So, yes. Knight c4 was my idea. So there's a lot happening here. Knight c4 is not a move you can just play on intuition, because you're giving up a piece. And there's a lot of lines to calculate. So I'm attacking this piece twice. He has to do something about that. So the first thing we look at is takes. So he took our knight, and now we have a few intriguing follow-ups, but only one is good. So obviously rook e1 is the first thing we think about, because that was the point of knight c4 in the first place. Number 2, queen b7 is the second idea of the move, knight c4. And I guess that's we could take back, but then he just castles. Then what was the point? So it's just queen b7 and rook e1. if queen b7, this almost works. I actually wasn't entirely convinced on what to play in this position when I was calculating. But I kind of decided that he just kind of takes here. And if I take the rook, he has he just like goes here is good enough. He has 2 pieces for the rook, and he's castling for 1. It's kind of annoying. I mean, I can't play rook e1 anymore. This pawn is dropping. I think black is winning. So like I have to just recapture, and then he goes here, he defends his rook. I'm no longer stopping him from castling. This just looks like I'm losing my grip. So that's why we play rook e1 here. And if king f8, now this was hot. I was so happy to find this. So this is point number 1 of why this works. So he's getting away. He's like getting out of the center. Almost. So king f8 tactically fails to bishop takes d6 check, queen takes, queen b7, and I am threatening to play queen c8 and just mating him, because queen d8 takes knight e8, and then I can take either way. So he's just losing a rook. Like he has to play g6 here, and I take, and I guess I'm technically only up in exchange, but I don't know, this position looks great to me. He can't ever move this knight, because I take this. I think white should be able to win this endgame. I don't know why they wouldn't be. Says me, who went into endgame and didn't win. So that is why this works. If he plays king here, this was a little more difficult to calculate. I think I have 2 good moves here, actually. One's just much better. So, okay, he can't retreat that way. He's attacking my queen. I have 2 checks that look enticing. So, queen a4 check, he just goes king c8. And honestly, I can probably just play knight d2 and pick up this pawn and just mate him. And I was spending a lot of time on that, and I was like, I think that's good. I think that works. But then I realized that queen b7 is kind of instantly winning, because here, we just take the rook, which I wasn't seeing at first. It was a fork. So there's that. This is kind of important. And if he plays bishop c7, I can still take on a8, you know? But I could also just, like, come do this. He's not saving this rook. He can't move the knight, because his king's in the way. His king is in stalemate. All I have to do is bring the knight in and check him. So I kind of just stopped calculating, because I was like, alright, this looks winning. So, okay, so he can't take my knight. We've established this. What are his other options? Well, pretty much only bishop takes a3. Nothing else really addresses both threats of playing rook e1 and, you know, just taking a free piece. So bishop takes a3. We're not going to save our piece. We're not going to retreat and just take a piece, because that was just a big, stupid, fancy trade otherwise. Here we commit to it. We play queen takes a3, still not allowing black to castle. This was the main point. So, okay, knight takes b takes c4, which is a knight. White to play here. Gotta calculate the whole line. I guess you don't. It's just kind of like if you get too far enough, you're like, it's just winning. But, so we're gonna follow up. We're gonna play rook e1. He's forced over to king d7, over to d7. And then here, there's 2 good moves. So it's kind of the same idea as what we just looked at. So knight d2 is very strong. We're just bringing the knight in. The king is just... We finally accomplished our goal of the whole game, of the whole opening. Everything we were doing was to keep the king in the center. It's in the center. It's staying there now. Now we just bring more pieces into the attack, just calmly. He still can't develop this knight. And, you know, he can play, like, rook e8, but it's not going to matter, because they just replace the rook that's there, and he still can't run away. And this is a fucking big fucking threat. Queen e3, king c8. What's my point? Queen d6, king c8, knight b6, king b7. Wait, this is also a pretty big threat, right? Okay, also queen e6, king c8, queen c5. And if he goes back to d7, I have knight b6. That's probably what it was. So I'm winning his queen, and also checkmating him. I think that's what it was. A little plotkin. Knight e4, rook takes c4, rook takes c4, queen d6 stuff. Yeah, that too. So, yeah. I think queen a4 might also work in this position, by the way. But it's like, why am I doing that? Just bring the knight in. I don't need to control these light squares any more than I already am. So, okay, so this is my point. And other than that, the other move I had to consider in this position when I played knight c4 here was bishop takes a3, queen takes a3, queen e7. And I actually have 3 perfectly good moves there, which is shocking, I think. So he played queen e7, it's the best move. And yeah, one move is, like, I think a little better than the others, just based on the fact that it fits in so well with the rest of the theme of the game, which is just something I really like. I didn't see the correct idea attached to this move, though. Otherwise, I would have played it instantly. So the moves we consider here are d6, knight d6, and knight b6. And they're all good. So... But I didn't know that. Like, this felt like a position where I only have one good move, or I'm worse. It feels like that. I get these positions all the time where I just have to play perfectly. And because I assume that, I kind of drained my time. So, like, until I have 10 minutes left. So it's kind of just a style thing, I guess. Although, I think what I did was the worst thing. And the reason I did it is because... I'll just say it right now. Or no, I won't. I'll give you more time to think about it. So what is your idea attached to d6? Because d6, queen e6, then what? The problem is I wasn't seeing the idea attached to 2 of these moves, actually, because they're essentially the same idea. Even though they look different, the good idea attached to these moves is fucked up. I mean, I consider just playing knight c3 here. But I think he just castles. And then I'm, like, enraged. Because that's, like, I don't want him to do that. Push again? Really? Here? What's the point of that? Are you, like, going for a perpetual with this? Like... I mean, I could take a perpetual, but, like, I want to win. So, spinal tap, knight d6 is what I played. I was... technically incorrect. So the idea attached to knight b6 and the idea attached to d6, the right idea, which is I didn't see it, is the same idea. Now, I thought for a long time about both of these moves, or all 3 of these moves, and then I decided like knight d6 seemed like it was just easily winning, and I'll tell you why. So knight d6, if he plays king f8, I mean I guess I have a few good things I could do. I was just gonna play, I don't know, either of these moves, but the point is that now this is a huge threat. And after king g8, I just put a rook here, and it's just a bad position. So, and if he plays here, then what? This is obviously the thing to consider. I mean, I honestly, I could probably just do the same thing once again. Like, he can't develop a piece, because he just loses, so... It's a really, really bad position for him. He can't do this because of this. So that's good enough, actually. I don't think we even need to spend time calculating queen a5. I think we can just understand that the king is in the center. So I saw that, you know. And then he played king d7, which I did not know was legal. And when I tell you he played king d7, my heart skipped a fucking beat. I like jumped. It scared me because I didn't know it was legal. It happens to work out and into like just a very favorable endgame for white after knight takes b5. I was so lucky to have knight takes b5 because I just didn't like. I think a big reason I overlooked such an obvious move is because the whole game I'm just trying to not let him go that way and keep him in the center, and then he voluntarily goes that way, and I guess I don't know, it just shocked me. Knight d6 was a very last minute decision, to be fair. But let's go back, and so the idea attached to knight b6 / d6, it's the same idea, it's just different move order. Is you go, we'll say d6 first, queen e6, knight b6, attacking his rook, rook a7, knight c8, which is, I saw this move happening in a different line somewhere, I don't remember where it was. I was kind of just hallucinating a lot. The idea, I've never seen this idea before. I fucking love it. The idea behind d6, knight b6, knight c8 is to play knight e7 and he still can't castle. Like, what? Yeah, knight e7. And it fits in so well with the rest of the weird moves that I made this game. This is the game I was trying not to gaslight myself, by the way, and Like, okay, bishop h3 was weird looking, but it was the best move. Bishop a3 was, I don't think it was weird looking, but it was hanging a piece, but it was the best move. Knight c4, weird looking, but best move. I was trying to just trust myself and not talk myself out of good moves, which is something I do a lot. But I would never. I feel like I would never find knight e7 because that's the weirdest move of them all. Like, what happens if he just plays rook d7? I play rook d1. Oh, I just play knight c3 and then I have rook e1 if he takes. Oh, wow. But if he plays rook d7 without losing a tempo, it's yeah, you're right. Knight d2, same idea. And if he castles here, rook e1, queen g4, knight e7 check, king h8, knight f3. See, now I'm a little confused. This pawn is worth a rook. I guess that's the computer's point. I think that's just it. Yeah, he can take on e7. Like, that's always probably his idea. Like in this, not this position. Like, this position, he can probably just do this. Computer says to do this. What? Is he getting a draw somehow? Okay, so I made his king weak too, so it's, like, not as bad. Well, I don't think either of us would find this resource, but... But anyway, yeah, I was so tired because, yeah, I thought for 30 minutes, 35 minutes on bishop h3, and then I had to calculate everything with knight c4, so by this point, my brain was fried. It was just completely liquid. And that's why, like, I played knight d6, and I was like, yeah, I'm just winning, and then he went here, and I was just like, oh, sure, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, now I'm under 10 minutes, and I have this endgame, which I still thought I was winning. Like, I still thought I was winning. I was aware that he has this outside pass pawn, but he still has development issues, and he just kind of has to fuck around for a while. And I don't remember a whole lot from this endgame because we were both playing on our increment. And it's a double knight endgame. I ended up losing to some very silly knight tactic. Well, it was technically two, but they worked in tandem. So I was very disappointed. I actually didn't realize I wasn't winning until, like, this is equal. I thought I was doing great here. Apparently rook b3, and I am, like, better, like, by a little bit. What is the point of rook b3? Like, he just goes here. Because this is one complicated tactical endgame. That's all I gotta say. I thought this pawn had to be worth something, but it just he was real good with his knights, and apparently this happened. And I thought this was, like, pretty good, and I was just close to winning because this is a huge threat. And now that I have another pawn in the center supporting this, I'm just running in. This rook can't move, and then he played knight c4. And which is a nasty move. This is still equal. But I think in my head, so at first I thought I was losing, and then I realized that even if he takes here, this is still a fork, so it's not a big deal. I could just play knight d6 if I want to, and go into that, where I have two, like, double pawns here. And I evaluated this as equal, which it is. But it never occurred to me that I was going to lose this game, I think. It just didn't occur to me that I could, after just being in charge during the whole game. I played king f4, which is a blunder. I'm actually losing now. And I didn't see this from afar, but the problem with king f4 is knight takes a3, knight d6 check, king d7, knight takes c8, knight c4, which I saw, and for some reason I thought e6 and I'm just winning, because if he plays king takes c8, then I have rook c8, rook c3, and like, I'm winning this piece back, and I have this pass pawn that's very difficult to stop. Or, I didn't know if I was winning or not, but I thought it looked great. But then I realized that after takes, he just plays king takes e6. Like, he doesn't take my knight, and my knight is trapped, and that's what I missed, and that's what happened. Yeah, he just went here. I was like, oh fuck, my knight is trapped. And I still am coping, but then he just plays knight takes, or rook takes c8. I resigned here. So, yeah, a lot of psychological problems happening there. It's not surprising how quickly it fell apart, because when you play like this where you're just evaluating position based on initiative and piece activity rather than material, you really have to be right. Because if your opponent consolidates castles, you know, you're just down material. So yeah, I found some really great moves. I found bishop h3 and bishop a3 and knight c4. But there's still a lot of chess to be played here, and I used all my time on those moves. You know, the great thing though is that after each one of these moves, my opponent had the best reactions. Like, yeah, after the game he's like, yeah, bishop h3, I didn't see that coming. And then every time I would play one of these moves, like after knight takes knight to c4, how much time did he spend here? He thought for 20 minutes here, and then he just started laughing, that was a really good feeling. He's a cool guy, but yeah, he's just, how the fuck is this just like that good? Heartbreaking to lose. I don't really feel that bad about it. Like, I was at most +2. Yeah, Stockfish says knight c4 is best. Bishop h3 was best. Bishop a3 was... I played a lot of best moves. Just the problem is that required all of my energy after playing 2 long games before this. I just had nothing left to finish it. Because yeah, this position, this is still a very rich position. Like, there's still a lot of chess to be played here. And I think part of me was thinking that kind of past the climax of the position, so it feels... My god, I've been analyzing this game for an hour. It feels like something should happen, like there should be some resolution here. But no, I just have to keep playing. Yeah, it was very hard work. I had such a bad headache at the end of this game from thinking so hard. But yeah, I mean, it's like, he's a good player, and it was an opening he wasn't super familiar with. Otherwise, they wouldn't have ever gotten this position. So I count it as a win because it's clear that I am starting to understand how to like take advantage of these mistakes in the opening. That means you really kind of understand it. Yeah, the hope is someday I won't have to think so hard and I can just not triple check everything. And like, I've been told to blunder check after every move because I have this thing where 99% of the game I play great and then I just make one hideous blunder, which is responsible for my recent 6-game losing streak. But then like, I have this fear that I'm gonna blunder during my blunder check, and I'm gonna forget one of the moves that I'm supposed to look at. And so I blunder check like 4 times, and it's supposed to only take you 20 seconds apparently, and no energy. But the way I do it, because I'm so scared of making a mistake while blunder checking, I do it so many times that I get tired from doing it, especially if you're doing it after every move. But the funny thing is, if I were blunder checking here, and looking at all of the forward moves and all of the moves that do something, I would have seen king d7. You know? This is a forward move. I was so lucky that I had knight b5, otherwise I would just be losing right away. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm still happy with it. I still think it was one of my best games that I played overall, so that's all I gotta say.